Last summer, I lived in my car for a month, finding mostly free camping everywhere I went. Today, I'm going to take you through my complete car camping setup and show you what worked and what didn't, including changes I'm thinking of making for my next big adventure. Let's get started. Here's what the passenger seat area looked like for most of my trip. These are solar-powered security lights. You can clamp them to like the top of the rail. They ended up being on all night long, pretty much until their power ran out sometime in the middle of the night. I didn't use them all the time. So down below, I have these two 2.5 gallon water jugs. And honestly, I could have easily gotten away with just one. This is actually just a snow scraper, ice scraper. I did use it once or twice for getting dust off the car. It's like a little lunch bag cooler. I basically used it as a snack bag. So I kept this bottle of water around for just when I needed to brush my teeth. This water bottle I love. It's a Berkey water bottle that has a filter inside that apparently lasts 50 years. And then I have another little baggie. I bought it because it was cute. I needed a place to put things. Sometimes when I need to use both my drink holders, I'll take my little plant, which I know it's stupid, but I love it. This is just some hand sanitizer that I keep around, and then the change is in here. And then this is my napkin / rag that I use, microfiber. And then there's a side pocket where I keep, you know, like a fork and a knife and a spoon in case I need to eat something on the run. And my small cutting board also fits in there. This charger, fantastic. This is for the Garmin. This was usually for the GoPro and whatever guest phone I had, Ted at the time. And then this one I just sort of dedicated to my iPhone. Up here, we've got the GoPro holder, and we've got this Garmin that we've had forever, and then we call her Babe because we picked the Valley Girl accent for her. This clamp is for my phone. I have a love-hate relationship with this thing. It jiggles around a lot, but the phone stabilization is so good that the phone compensates, and it has a longer arm, so you have a lot of flexibility to move it this way or that way. So this is my Igloo cooler. It was the perfect size. I discovered a 10-pound block of ice. If you can find it, it's the most optimum. The next best thing was 7-pound bags of ice. 10 pounds was typically too big. The minus with this is that it does not have any kind of drain hole. So whenever you need to do the ice operation, you have to dump it. I carried several blankets with me. This one is a lightweight fleecy blanket, which is great for covering the waters when you don't want the sun on it. It's the same color as the car, so it kind of blends in. So this cooler has these stretchy latches that are really popular, but I like them because they seem to give a better, more solid close than previous coolers we've had. Every once in a while, I would have to empty the cooler, so I'd put all the food into this bag, so I kind of keep it at the top. And my friend Patty had the great idea to put wipes in the cooler so that you could always have a cool wipe. So this actually still has ice in it from yesterday, and what I quickly found out is that these ice bags always have holes in them. They just melt, and pretty soon all your stuff is in a sea of ice. So what I started doing was I got these trash compactor bags, and I started using 2 of them just for extra safety. But you put the ice in here and you put the compactor bags around it so that when you pull out the ice, there's no water at the bottom. It's fantastic. So it just made the whole ice thing a lot easier, not having your stuff swimming in water. The glove box, I would just say I hardly ever accessed it, and these bottles do impede opening it all the way. It opens enough to get the owner's manual out, and I have some wipes and pins and a tire pressure check in there and some kind of fragrance things. So, you know, it works. I also had like a little, it's a US road atlas that I did occasionally check. This is just like a $6 Walmart rug to use as sort of a mat when I get out of the car here. But I also ended up using it underneath the jackery outside when I needed to charge things. So I didn't want my things that were being charged on the dirty ground. And it folds up so easily and just fits right here in this corner. Okay, let's move on to the back passenger seat. This is where I would put my sandals, and then below I put my serious hiking shoes and my street shoes. My intention here was to always keep this clear because it's good for sitting and maneuvering and dressing and just having a place to move from the back seat to the front seat. But what ended up happening is that when I needed to charge with the Jackery, I would seat the Jackery in this position because the Jackery fits back behind that seat in its protective case, but I can't charge anything. And for me to drive comfortably and to have the Jackery with things coming out of it, it's not wide enough. There's just not enough space there. So I ended up putting the Jackery in a seat belt to kind of like, you know, keep it more secure in case of sudden stop, because this thing is so precious. It can't be hurt because it's amazing. So I would sit it back here, and this one is the input that goes to the front lighter thingy. And then sometimes I would just have things charging here while I was driving. I mean, it worked, but I would have preferred to have the Jackery tucked away behind a seat. This was my sleeping pillow. It came in handy for covering the Jackery to keep it out of the sun when I was parked, and it did a really good job of insulating it, so that was a unexpected bonus, and I'll tour you through all of this in a minute. And then on this side, I tucked my little rabbit bag. It's just one of those things where you just want to quickly grab stuff you need for the outdoors, like my trusty can of off, although this is the powdery kind that leaves white spots on things, which I hate, so I won't get that kind again, but I like the small size of it. And then also, you know, like a tube of sunscreen, which I should have used more of, and, you know, something to clean your glasses with. Oh, actually, that's a pee rag, which I never ended up using. Backpackers will know what I'm talking about. And then, you know, tissues and stuff. This little area here is where I stored the screens that I put over the windows at night. These are awesome must-have items for car camping. If you're going to sleep in your car, got them on Amazon. I'll put a link below. This is another one that is a must-have, and this is the screen, the magnetic screen that goes over the sunroof at night, so it allows hot air to escape. You can see the trees. Again, from Amazon. I'll put a link. Yeah, those two items were fantastic. I brought a lot of hats. This one I actually bought on the road because the hats I brought, although they were cute, they were not very good at actually protecting me from the sun. This one is my hiking hat. This one definitely came in handy, but it's just not a look I liked for town. So I liked having a hat like this while in town, although ideally it would have a chin strap for windy days. And then this one my friend Linda gave to me years ago, and it's just a little fleece hat with a little flower in the back. And, you know, I knew I needed a warm hat, and this one was light and it collapses, and I love it. And then underneath I had this Chinese communist hat, whatever. I don't like ball caps, but I kind of like this one because it's weird and different, and I never wore it. And then underneath the hat, I would keep my fairy lights during the day, and they would come out at night. And then over here in the corner here, I would keep my USB fan, which is the, oh my God. If you buy one thing for car camping, buy something like this. Mine has these flexible gorilla legs, and it doesn't take a lot of power. It lasts all night on the low setting. Yeah, this is a must buy. Link below. By the way, these little affiliate links I have going, I really don't earn much, you know, maybe a few cents here and there, but they add up and it helps support the channel. So I totally appreciate you using those links. And even if you don't buy the thing I link to, but if you buy something else in that session, I'll get a little tiny commission, and it's just, you know, it helps the channel because basically this is self-funded. And in the back corner here, I kept my fleece spider jacket. This is a sheepskin from IKEA that I've had forever. It is an absolute luxury item that I would bring again in a heartbeat for several reasons. Because first of all, you know, when you put your little plant up, which again is kind of stupid. I'm sure the guys are going, oh my God, why do you have a plant in your car? But look at it. It looks homey and nice to have a little plant there. Totally fake, bought it at Target. It looks great on the shelf. Okay, it just gives you that cozy, lovely feeling. But also, it covers up these reflectics. And so if anyone is peeking in the window, they don't immediately see these reflectics. And so it just looks less like you're living in your car. And I love throwing this on my camp chair at night. It just feels warm and luxe to have this furry thing underneath you. And I loved throwing it in the hammock as well, because, you know, in hammocks, if it gets breezy, your butt gets cold, but this keeps it warm. Reflectics, they worked out fine, except in the 100+ degree heat you know, when I was at the Gorge Amphitheater and they were sitting in the car for 4 days straight. They all shrunk, now they're rippled, they don't fit as well as they used to, so they're okay as long as they don't get too hot. You know, while I'm in the middle, let's look at this. Okay, so this is a trash bag. I usually kept it in the middle on top of whatever was there. Later in the trip, I ended up buying these little LaCroix small can boxes, which fit great here, so I could just reach back and grab one whenever I wanted. So that did save me quite a bit of money versus buying things in gas stations. Now, this is maybe going to gross some people out. This is the pee bottle and the pee bottle spout. This is a ladies issue. I guess the men just use the bottle. Ladies need to have a spout to direct it into the bottle. Got this on Amazon, of course. I only had to use it once. Then when I used it, it became this thing that, oh, you used it, now you need to rinse it out, and oh, you need to let it air out after it's been rinsed. And so I ended up keeping it here. It's all clean, don't worry, it didn't smell or anything. I can zip this closed. I'm glad I had it, and not sure where I'll put it in the future, but yeah. I have a lot of blankets, and every single one of them had its use. This blanket had multiple uses. It was great for picnics. It actually all folded up like this, made a fantastic bench cushion. And then I also used it a lot on top of the cooler to help keep that cool, especially if I had to park in the sun. So I'd have this one on the cooler, I have the gray ones on top of the water to just kind of hide what's going on in the car. And it was my colors. This is my aesthetic, which I know the guys are going, oh my God, who cares? But the girls will understand, and maybe the gay guys, that aesthetics matter when you're living in your car. Now this blanket I brought with me, and it also served as a great insulator on top of the Jackery when I need to keep it cool. Sometimes I would drape it over the Jackery panel. This is the solar panel for the Jackery, because I didn't want people to know that I had like this really expensive Jackery setup in my car, like if I parked it somewhere. I slept most of the time with just this blanket. Like I would sleep on top of my other comforter and use this as my blanket, and it was just perfect because it was the summer. This pillow, some old pillow we had around, and I would shove it in here so that I basically wouldn't fall in the hole. And then this pillow, my sleeping bag is inside. It's a 30-degree sleeping bag, which I did use at the Ajuna concert because I couldn't bring my car in. I was sharing a campsite with somebody else, and so I had to bring all my own camp gear. When not in use, it's this cute pillow, which also stuffs into this corner to keep me, again, from falling into the hole. And it was also useful for hiding, you know, just hiding things in the car. I decided that I did not want to have a full-time bed in my car because I just didn't want it to always look like I'm living in my car. So I basically had this fold-away situation where during the day I just fold it up and put my pillows and blankets on it and just look like hopefully I was traveling versus actually living in the car. This is a Jackery solar panel. It's pretty much the only place it would fit, so that's where it lived. And it was fine even when I folded out the bed. This bed flips up and over. I have to push this seat forward pretty far. If I do, then it's almost horizontal. This right here is my camera bag, and I can unzip it from the top and grab the camera and any extra batteries. This is my computer bag that generally lives on top of the Jackery, which belongs underneath. Let me pull it out. It's really heavy. Oh my God. Ugh. It's gray like my car, so that was good for blending in. And this below is the Jackery case. It's crushed right now. It's insulated, so if you have to store your Jackery in a hot situation, this will keep it cool. The problem is you can't charge anything when it's in its Jackery case. And then underneath the seat here, what you can't see is I have a gimbal for my phone, which I never ever used. Since I've been talking about the back seat passenger side, let me just go to the other side and show you that angle. Here you can see the Jackery solar screen, the camera bag, the computer bag, and here's the other side of the bed. And here you can see the platform that I put in to try and keep the seats as level as possible. It mostly works. I had a friend cut it for me, but you could go to a hardware store and have them do it for you, so it's really no build. I brought a book and tucked it in here because there was room for it, but I never read it. And in the door here, I kept this N95 mask, and it wasn't for COVID, it was for in case of forest fire and the smoke got bad and I couldn't breathe. So thank God I never had to use that. And then this is a sarong that I really only used once. It's kind of a must-have that I'll keep bringing with me because it can be a dress, it can be a curtain, you know, it can be a towel, it can be a skirt, it can just be So many useful things. All right, so while I'm here, I'll just talk about the driver's side. This door, basically I would put this bag moved around several times and it ended up here. It's just a shopping bag or a beach bag or whatever kind of bag. This scarf I started stuffing in here. This is really great for protecting me from the sun, because when you're driving, you know, you've got sun on your legs and sun on your arms and you start getting sunburnt all the time. This actually functioned as a towel at one point when I forgot my towel. So, and then I just have another one of these, you know, bags and some napkins. And there is an umbrella underneath there, which I never had to use. These are my sunshades. I bought these at Walmart. They don't like 100% cover every crack, so I don't think they'd be so great for stealth camping in the city. But I did like that I didn't have to remove all of this stuff every time to use them. I could just sort of work these things around that stuff. I just hate having to like unclamp everything and then reclamp it, blah blah blah. It just gets really complicated. Now let's do the center compartment. I had more wipes. I use these ones the most. This compartment actually stays pretty cool. It was useful for things that you didn't want to melt, like lipsticks and camera equipment and all of that. This is my little GoPro accessories bag. I bought this bag in Sisters. And then I had my regular purse. My idea was like, oh yes, when I go to town, I'll have a cute little purse. I never used any of it except for the anchor battery, which I don't know where it went. It's around somewhere. See, this is the thing. It's like when you're doing this car living thing, you can waste so much time looking for things, which is why you have to be super organized and put things in their place every time. Underneath the purse, I had a bunch of little campy things. So I had like a camp light, a whistle, flashlight, a headlamp. I didn't end up using any of this stuff, but I think it's good to have spares of this kind of thing. And then on the other side, I had my journal. Okay, this basket I used a lot, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Underneath, this is what Ted reminded me that I had, which was a little charging station that I completely forgot about. And then I just had extra batteries because you always need batteries. So this is like my little utility basket. It's like your junk drawer, you know, that you need. Flashlight. I had a wipe for my glasses. I had like a little wrist thing that I could put my car key on because my biggest fear was losing my car key. This is like a personal alarm. Thankfully, I never had to use that. This was the cord for charging my USB fan, which I was very careful to charge every time I used it because that fan was a lifesaver. Used tissue, which you probably don't want to see. Okay, this candle was so awesome. It's like tobacco and honey, and it was just heavenly. It was a great little thing to have in the car when you needed to burn, you know, something to make the car smell good. Matches, ear plugs, must have. And then I bought this little dish early on, and I would use it up on my shelf at night to put my earplugs and my earrings so that I could find those in the morning. These were my vitamins that I actually... looks like I only took half of them. Tissue and a nail file because I broke every nail almost on this trip. This is for getting junk out of my teeth because I've always got stuff in my teeth, as you've probably seen. And cleaner for glasses. This fungal nail thing that I got on Amazon and stopped using because it didn't seem to work. And this is just like some really nice essential oils. And then love notes from my cutie pie, just to remember that I'm loved. So yeah, that was my little basket. And I would put it up on the shelf every night. And I would put my car key in it, so I always knew where my car key was. Maybe I shouldn't tell you that in case you want to break into my car when I'm in it. Okay, the back. In another video, I talked about this little faux countertop that I made by cutting out some shelf liner, and I talked about this silicone baking pad, which was great for when I needed to use the stove because it's safe for hot things. This is a down comforter covered by a fuzzy duvet, which I loved. I ended up sleeping on top of it most of the time because it wasn't really cold enough to get under it, and I was so happy to have it. But pretty much whenever I folded up the bed, I could shove all of this just right into this area here. So here's the bed. Here's the platform. Underneath is just a shoe rack that kind of holds it up. So over on the side here, there's this space. And in this space, I kept several things, including spare butane canisters. And I kept them in a bag just for extra safety so that in case they leaked, they wouldn't kill me. I had this Scotch spray-on stuff, which I used to stick on the black flannel to the Reflectix. I brought it because I knew I'd have to make repairs, and I did have to use it a couple times to respray some corners. It's very insulated back here, so it stays cool. This is one of the things I didn't use that I won't take again. They're like studio lights for, you know, YouTubing. I ended up shoving these back here. I had brought these for snacks and leftovers, and I did use them once. In a car, baggies make more sense. And then this is 2 more butane canisters. I really only needed the one, which lasted me for a good 2.5 weeks, and then I had to do a new one. This is actually a serious fold-out shovel. So like if I were stuck in the mud, or if I had to dig a giant cat hole, I could do that. But this is really mostly for road recovery. I never had to use it, but I'm glad I had it. Under here, I had a couple of chairs, and these are like super old REI chairs from like the 90s. But what I liked about them is that they were small enough to fit in here, because behind these, I have a tent and a Z-Rest and a blow-up Thermarest mattress. So anything longer and those things wouldn't fit. This was my little fold-out table that I used and loved. Like, that was another Amazon purchase. I'll link it. And then this is a really lightweight tripod, which is great for hiking, but it's not really sturdy enough for this heavy of a camera. And then also some of it started breaking, like some of the screws weren't working correctly. These 2 little rugs, I bought them on a whim inside of a Walmart when I was looking for something else, because they were so cute and they were my aesthetic, for those of you who care about aesthetics. And I didn't think I needed both of them, but I brought them just in case, and they were both great. Sometimes I wanted the bigger one, sometimes I wanted the smaller one. They were worth the space. Love them both. These are actual treads that you can lay down on the underneath your tires in case you get stuck in the mud or stuck in the snow. Never had to use those. Thank God I had them. The right side here is where the whole kitchen and a bunch of things are stored. This comes off the top. It's a collapsible dishwashing pan, and I ended up keeping my bowls handy along with this towel because I use them so frequently. This is the bathroom. If you're grossed out by this kind of thing, don't look, but basically it is some toilet paper. Normally it's in its own plastic bag. Here is a little shovel for digging a cat hole if necessary. It was never necessary because there are public restrooms all over the place. Also, normally I keep a baggie in here like this for the toilet paper that I use. That way it keeps the smells separate. Also, I keep my little candle here that I found in Old Republic, which is a citronella candle, helps keep the mosquitoes away, and my little sponge for cleaning. Often I would just pull this out and put it on the shelf here to get it out of the way. And then underneath is all the kitchen stuff. So it's my little Tetrisy camp set. I have mixed feelings about it. It's really cool in that it's so small and it has so many things, but it's like toy dishes. Everything is so small. I mean, I can only cook 1 fillet at a time. It's got a frying pan, a pot. There's a kettle inside for boiling water. And inside of that, there's 2 cups, a couple of shallow bowls, but they're also plates, so you could use them as either. I did try using them at one point, and it was okay, but I preferred using the bigger bowls and the bigger plates. I don't know. I mean, I'll just keep the whole set together and continue with it on the next trip, but there's a part of me that would really just want to get like a 10-inch frying pan. That wouldn't necessarily fit in there, so I'd have to find another place for it. Then on top of that, there's a lid, hot pad, and then my collapsible coffee filter, which the idea of that was you weren't supposed to need any kind of filter, but it kept clogging, so I had to use paper towels as a filter, which worked out fine. I wouldn't want to buy special filters for that because the fewer things the better. There's like an interior basket here that I got at Target to kind of keep things separate. So I have a couple of skewers in here that I never ended up using. I have a washcloth in here, a couple dish towels, my little cutting board is off to the side. I have this measuring cup in here that I kept all my utensils in. I actually never used it, and I probably should have, because there were some things I was supposed to measure that I didn't measure, and I kind of eyeballed it. But it's such a pain to take it out, all these utensils out of this cup. You know, things I need, like a spatula, forks, knives, and spoons to eat with, some kitchen scissors, a couple knives, and my favorite little spoon, corkscrew, just in case. I didn't necessarily use the corkscrew or the bottle opener, but I liked having it in case I needed it, and same for the can opener. And these are some tongs, which I did use those once. And then this here in my hand is like you put it on a can if you don't eat the whole entire can of whatever. So I didn't use that, but it's useful, so I would keep it on the next trip. I did use this. This is my Dr. Bronner's 18-in-1 Lavender Pure Castile soap. You can use it for everything, from dishes to hair to body to, it cleans it off. So I did use that. And then these Clorox wipes, they're like the crisp lemon disinfecting wipes. Oh my God, these were so useful. Like, I would bring these 100 times over. It was so easy to just, you know, wipe out a bowl when you needed to clean something really quick. And I didn't really taste any lingering, you know, residue. And then I would give it a good wash at some point. So, you know, it's kind of a combination. And then here I have my bag of groceries. And so I have my Rayleigh's coffee, which lasted me the whole trip. Cooking oil, which I did use. I put it in a special bag because the lid doesn't 100% close tight. Rice-A-Roni, tea, another oatmeal. I had some topper for salads. Baggies, these are must-have. So this is what I would do for smelly garbage. I would put them in these bags to keep the garbage from smelling up, you know, the car. And they're good for leftovers too. And then I had these bars for breakfast, which are awesome. And then I had some extra canned food, like some clam chowder, which I didn't end up using, some Amy's pea soup, and some chili. So I would keep those, you know, in case. This was my coffee topper, which I never ended up using once. It's so hard to clean. Like, you have to take all these pieces apart. I had some pecans that I totally forgot about. And I had some flavorings. Oh my God, this Montreal steak seasoning, it just makes everything better. This whole kitchen area, they're all held in this really cool storage basket for cars that I got on Amazon. In here, I would keep the bigger spray bottle of sunscreen, and then I also have an air horn. So this is for animals or people. And then this cool little thing I got on Amazon, it's like a multi-tool and has like a little axe, pliers, and screwdriver, and a can opener, corkscrew, and a little hammer right too. And then in this side, I just kept this big clip, which I used all the time. I had little clothespins, which actually take up less space. They just don't hold things as well, but I'll keep them for extra clipping capability. Matches and a lighter and a birthday candle in case I need to start a fire. More of these microfiber towels. And then I had like this extra thing of baby powder, which I was going to use for dry shampoo when my spray-on dry shampoo ran out, but it never did. This is another one of those amazing must-have things right here for the car camping, and this is the butane 1-burner stove. It lights so easy. Love this thing to death. And this one actually will also do propane. And then I have this basket in here that kind of like shoves on top of everything else. And this I used for quick grab sweaters and my puffy jacket. So then we have the back, brought some Sawyer water carriers and a filtration system. So I just thought that was good to have in case of emergency. Didn't use it, but would probably carry it again. This is like a camp towel. It's big. It's like a giant bath-size towel. I also have my hammock back here, which was so amazing. An emergency blanket. I have rope in case, I don't know, I gotta tow myself out of a situation or somebody tow me out of a situation. This back here is one of those jump start a battery thingies, and we actually did have to use this when the alternator went out. And then this is a first aid kit. I used this a lot actually toward the end of the trip as I realized the bugs were dying and they were just looking bad on the windshield for filming. So these paper towels and this Windex, I might think about making them a little more easy to access. These two plates, which I actually got at Target. I think I used them once, so I'm not sure I'd bring them again. I think I'll go to the back seat to talk about the clothing situation. For this portion of the tour, I've opened up the bed, not all the way, but I just wanted to show you how I can sit on the bed and access my clothes. My toiletries I keep here in this bag. Very easy to grab during the day if I need to. Very easy to grab at night. This area was where all my clothes were, and they were in a duffel bag, which I'm gonna pull out. This seat, I could reach over and pull this latch, fold down the seat. It was very easy to reach my clothes. Well, the seat broke, and then I couldn't reach that area. So I got this set of pretty inexpensive packing cubes at Walmart, and I have, you know, one for shirts, one for pants, one for underwear, and one for pajamas and pullovers and miscellaneous. This one I had already had, and I was using that for my socks and underwear, and I had been putting it on top of my duffel bag, and then all the rest of the stuff that I'm pulling out here had actually been in the duffel bag. So that's the original duffel bag that had all my clothes in it, rolled up, so that I could look from the top and see what was there. It was all very neat and organized. So my husband Ted made an interesting discovery by reading the Acura owner's manual while the car was having trouble at our friend's house in Idaho. Apparently, these seats come right out. And so apparently I can, if this seat worked, fold them super flat. So as you can see here with the seat in, it doesn't fold flat, which is why I had to make this platform. But apparently I can have them fold flat and I'll just store this somewhere else. So that opens up a whole new set of possibilities for me. I mean, I could take that seat out and then maybe get rid of the platform, but I have a lot of storage under the platform now, so I kind of value that space. So maybe I just get another shoe rack and put it at this end, and then get another board that's a little bit longer so that I can have a flat bed. But then the thing is, it's always in bed mode. I might have to play with that. Love to hear what you think about this whole possibility. I don't want to sleep on this skinny side. I just think it's too skinny. Plus my storage basket in the back fits perfectly in this space. So yeah, I don't know about that idea. Love to hear your thoughts though.